everyone. My name is Lisa Boehme, and I've had the Superior Cafe for almost 10 years now in Victoria, BC. I was asked to participate in Thinklandia last week at the Rifflandia Festival in Victoria for the restaurant section, and I prepared a little speech which I would like to read now. Opening my first business in 1987 at the foot of Johnson Street, known as Lisa Boehme Coffee House, and then later Java Coffee House, came from a need to have a good place to go for an espresso. My then husband, Rick May, and myself, both Californians, in our new home in Victoria, realized it must be built. After 5 years, I took a break from Lisa Boehme, following 10 years to be with my daughters. Getting older made me pause and reflect. How was I going to age in Victoria? A town clearly for younger and retired people, and really not a place for the in-betweens. In 2004, the forming of a new venture began, targeting the 40-ish age group, a place that would support living artists, dance, local music, local foods, but smaller plates, affordable beer and BC wines, basically a grown-up version of Lisa Boehme and Java Coffee House. 2 years of working with the James Bay Neighborhood Association and the neighbors on Superior Street, both of whom had the not in my back door mentality. Sheer perseverance shone through, and I was allowed by the city to open the Superior Cafe. Perseverance is a key word in Victoria, and definitely something you must have in order to get anything accomplished here. The first 5 years were very successful. Then officially married to the business, as that's what you have to do in the restaurant business. The tides of cash flowed in and then out as the U.S. recession hit. Having 15 employees open every day and the costs, it became an uphill battle. Every year, the rising costs of city licenses, liquor licenses, insurance fees, and if you join the BC Food Association or Tourism Victoria, you'll have more yearly fees. Tempting with the anticipation of more exposure equals more customers. Advertising, something I have never done, a huge expense with the question, would you go out to a restaurant because you saw a lovely ad in a magazine? No, you would go because a good friend of yours told you about their dining experiences. Believing that if each person has a memorable experience in the restaurant, they will talk about it, and then the word will spread, works completely. But with the oneness then falls on the owner's presence, or the great front-end staff that you acquired to be there when you are not there. When you add up the energy it takes to do this, the benefits can be huge, but at what cost? Supporting local arts. Each of us is compelled inside to do what we choose to do. If we are really looking in the mirror, we can see who we really are, and with that knowledge, you get a sense of self. Applying that to all the work you do and the energy you expel, it becomes the heartbeat of a restaurant or any business you create. I knew from the very beginning that I was a good set and stage designer, but not good at running other aspects of the restaurant, having never owned one. Therefore, my original plan was to find the best people to take over the daily running and kitchen so that I could focus on PR aspects, sharing the work and allowing different energies to flow with the original concept of what the Superior was, continued to feed the bloodline and heart of the restaurant. This worked for a while, but the dining out scene had changed in Victoria, and between the rising costs of maintaining our routine and wage increases combined with losing Torin Egan, our chef of 6 years, I reinvented the concept of the Superior Cafe to the Superior Supper Club, which opened in February of this year. Open 4 evenings a week with a changing menu, each week based on local ingredients, and a standard musical lineup of swing music on Fridays. We also offered an affordable prefix menu and guest chefs, which meant that a chef without a restaurant or a food truck could rent the space for a nominal fee and have a restaurant for a night. This concept of dining is happening everywhere in the world, and it is widely accepted as it has become a new standard to make dining an experience. I used to say the Superior offered an exclusively affordable and eclectic dining experience. As an owner of a restaurant, I think other restaurant owners would agree. You can have the best food, the best atmosphere, but if your front-end staff is not up to par, you have a problem. And here in Victoria, finding professional, good servers is becoming increasingly more difficult. Victoria is one of the most expensive cities in Canada to live, and most wait staff are students with other jobs just to pay the rent. Experienced servers are not around, and so the cycle begins. I believe in a cooperatively run business set up from the beginning. It is a much more affordable option for an entrepreneur and allows each person involved to contribute to the business plan. But for most people, that means working together as a whole and leaving your ego at the door. Trusting each other's opinions, which is in this industry, is hard to do. In the fall of 2012, on yet another trip to Halifax, Nova Scotia, I was deeply impressed by the entrepreneurial spirit and the support by the city for small business. I then read an article about being local. Here in Victoria, the line of the year is "We are local." But are we? If we were all about local, our small independent businesses would be well supported by the city, by the way of perks and fee structures, and by the people who live here. But again, the cost of advertising for these small businesses is mostly not affordable. So what happens is a small business can't get the word out that they even exist and close their doors. The then entrepreneurs that are trying to do what they are compelled to do lose sometimes even all of their assets. Networking together is imperative. In the summer of 2002, the brainstorming of a new small enterprise began. My husband, a trained pastry chef from the Northwest, and I decided to open Mortiscycle Donuts, an outdoor espresso bar with 2% jazz coffee and homemade donuts. Again, I faced the James Bay Neighborhood Association to use the point of the Superior Cafe garden and went through the usual negativity of "not in my backyard." Finally, after 4 months, I was given permission to create and operate a small kiosk at the point of the building under the Superior Business License. The current food truck bylaw states that a food truck must be located adjacent to a primary food license, and that 2 business licenses were allowed per property. I attempted to rent out 2 parking spaces near the Superior's front door to Chef Naoito of Daidaco, which would have been wonderful, and his customers would have been able to enjoy the Superior's hidden garden patio. I was told that my espresso machine constituted a food truck, and he would not be able to open on the Superior property, even though there's only one small business license in place, the Superior's. I had to laugh, but unfortunately it's not funny. If Victoria wants to be like Portland in the foodie world, then let the food trucks have a real parking lot, support them, and use Portland's well-established permitting and bylaws as a guide. Also recognize that people are not going out to dine as they used to. Life is too expensive here, and unless a restaurant offers more than good food, there's much competition between the choices a diner will make to go out in the evening. Mortiscycle Donuts has now been open for the past 3 months, outside, weather dependent, and we have created a neighborhood of early morning local espresso for people in the neighborhood and tourists. With the constant concept of working together in mind and bartering, we work with Sam Jones of 2% Jazz, who carries our donuts at both locations, and now Keelan from Shatterbox Coffee Bar on Yates Street. We work together spreading the word about our businesses and our products, as well as other small companies we support. It has worked so well that in the last 3 months, 2% Jazz has virtually a new location on the Superior Street corner. Victoria has changed over the past 28 years I have been here. How it chooses to move forward will affect all those who call it home. Restaurants need to flourish and be supported by each other, as well as the locals. As well as the locals, not the yokels. That's okay. I like that. Food trucks are here to stay. People can't afford to go out all the time, and good food can be found there at a reasonable rate. Supporting food trucks is important, and you need to do it. Victoria needs to recognize that communities and neighborhoods are #1 priority. Tourism is second. Tourists come to Victoria to see charm, history, landscape, and environments, making downtown accessible with free parking, closing off Government Street, making landlords lease their spaces and not get a tax break if they are empty, will help keep Victoria vibrant. Not so many free events during the tourist season. Free means tourists go there, especially cruise boat tourists who eat on the boats and don't dine out. Give them the opportunity to explore the food world in Victoria. Neighborhood associations are important if they are run correctly and are based on a good cross-section of the local population, but need to be non-biased. There should be a neutral member on the board from City Hall who thinks with an open mind. Our neighborhood association is mostly made up of residents in James Bay who are retired. The not in my back door mentality is not helping the growth of Victoria or the new entrepreneurs in small business. All ages and incomes need to have a presence at these neighborhood meetings, thus creating a cross-balance of ideas and openness, which leads to forwardness and change, which is inevitable. Change is inevitable. It is how it is done that matters. City Hall needs to be more accessible to the creative people who are compelled to do what they must do, and most of us creative people think out of the box, so openness is key. Suggestions: creative networking. Sharing aspects of your business through conversation with other small businesses works. For example, in 2002, we started an exchange for printed Superior bucks and Niagara bucks with the Niagara Market in James Bay. The slogan was, dining out, the Superior is all about good food. Dining in, shop at Niagara Market. When you shopped at the market, for every $20 you spent, you got $1 to spend at the Superior. And when you dined at the Superior Cafe, you got $1 to spend at Niagara Market. It worked. And people from other end of James Bay were coming to dine at the Superior, and people from around the Superior Street were shopping at Niagara Market. Grassroots advertising works. Don't be caught up in buying into advertising. As we get busier and busier at Mortiscycle Donuts, I decided to close the Superior Cafe and focus on Mortiscycle. So on September 1st, the Superior came Superior Street Bistro, and a new chapter of 106 Superior began with new owners. My time in Victoria has come to a close, and my husband and myself are leaving for the new frontier coast of Nova Scotia, where entrepreneurs are supported and where the cost of living is much more affordable. We are happy to announce that Mortiscycle Donuts West is now owned by a new first business entrepreneur, pastry chef Melanie Labyrinth, and we will have Mortiscycle Donuts East in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. Melanie will continue the great donut revival with her donuts, and they will continue to be available at 2% Jazz, Shutterbox Espresso, and the Superior Street Bistro. Stay true to your vision. Compromising is confusing to customers and yourself. Don't sell out your ideas. Keep it small and keep it tight. Instead of advertising, supporting other businesses using the example of Niagara Market dollars or offering GCs or trades is especially good for you to do. Don't give up. City Hall, landlords, politics can be rocks on your path. Slowly push and the rocks, they will shift. When there is a will, there is a way. Logical thinking is better than business school. Work on all angles of your plan and proceed with caution. Always give credit where credit is due. People are what makes a business successful. Align yourself with a good commercial banker. Just fly. Just follow your dreams. We're moving to Nova Scotia. Thank you all.
Yay!
So the little glitches are okay.
Oh no, little glitches.
That
okay.
makes
The
it real.
yokels was good.